What is up, winning team, and welcome to part 12, finally the final video in my series, the misogyny in religion. I'm just going to wrap everything up, okay? So if you guys don't know everything we're talking about, go and check it out. There's going to be a playlist in the description box. Watch it from the beginning, please, because you need the context. Please watch the introduction so you understand why I'm doing this and we don't get lost in people just assuming the wrong thing because they didn't bother to actually watch the intro video where I explain it all. Anywho, I wanted to just quickly wrap up and just say that, this video was completely eye-opening for me. It wasn't my intention. I didn't go out looking for it. In fact, I was just chilling. I was going to be playing some games and I wanted something tonight interesting that would be a little bit something that would engage my brain a little bit while I was just hanging out after the Sabbath. I'd already done loads of videos and lots of things and I was just chilling. And then I came across this video by Cults to Consciousness, talking 8 women from 8 different cults. And I thought, that sounds really interesting, right? And I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't have any intention with it. And then I started to listen to it. And very early on, I started to really relate. And I started to realize that we as women in just in terms of women and religion and how we are treated and the misogynistic nature of so many of our experiences is something that doesn't go spoken about. And I guess I didn't really think about it too much because I'm not somebody who gets caught up saying feminism, because I feel that I know some of the issues that some of the women had before me and I'm significantly better off. But then when I was looking at this from a religious standpoint, because for me that's different. Again, the world is the world. So I have no expectations other than destruction, death, tyranny, chaos, whatever from the world. But when it comes to these belief systems and just the way that people are manipulated, and particularly us women in all these different ways, it really was something just a little bit way too close to home, in a way that I didn't expect for it to be. As I was listening to it and just hearing the stories of, women who were, realistically speaking, in a lot of the instances, they were just trying to do the right thing. And that was my thing. Even last year, my whole thing with the Lord was, I was just saying to him, I kept saying to him, God, I just can't believe, when my birthday came, I was like, God, I can't believe that me just trying my best to do the right thing my whole life has turned me here. I'm in a state where I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I feel like I've been always responsible for somebody else. I've been, to some degree. I've always been in some degree looking after kids since I was the age of 12. You know what I'm saying? I've always been doing that. I was thinking about why I hate the summer, because I do hate summer, you guys. And one of the reasons I hate the summer, right, is because when I was a teenager, I remember during the summer, I wasn't what my summers used to look like a lot of the time is we have only a short summer. We have a 6-week summer here in the UK. So what my summers would look like is I would have to babysit, right, my youngest brother, whom I love dearly, and none of this is any reflection of my love for him in any way, shape, and form. But I will say this, I would be working and contributing towards paying my mom rent and stuff like that, and I would work when she wasn't working and stuff like that. And then when it would be the summertime, right? Bearing in mind, I'm also studying. I'm also doing all these crazy subjects. It was the summertime, I had to look after my brother. So when I would wake up, he would wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm getting woken up during the summer, when I'm supposed to be having summer and I'm supposed to be hanging around with my friends. And I'll be getting woken up at 5 in the morning, obviously by a toddler. And it's not his fault, bless his heart, and obviously, I whatever I did. And I mean, I looked after him in every way since I was 12, bathing him, changing his nappies, looking after this, feeding him, blending up his food, putting him to sleep, all this stuff. I did all of these things, right, since he was born, right? And I never really realized what that was like until I saw him as a 12-year-old. And I looked at him and I thought, there's no way, ain't no way that I was so responsible and doing all these things at the age of 12, And bearing in mind also the fact that my household chore since I was 11 already was to wash all the dishes for the house every single day. And once I did have a phone, the threat was if I don't wash the dishes, my phone would be taken away. And my brothers, whenever they even had chores later in life, the older they got, Did they ever bother to do their chores? No. Did they ever get in trouble for doing them? No, they didn't. When anything would happen with anyone, like, so when anything would happen with anyone, like the expectation was always on me. Like the women would always come to me like, oh, we're worried about your brother because of this, we're worried about your cousin because of that, we need you to do this because your dad's not going to be here, your uncle's not doing that. And it was like, so I was like essentially expected to pick up the slack essentially for all the things that the men didn't do, right? And I had the standards, I had to reach them, and if I didn't reach them, I was treated a certain way. But if they didn't reach the standards, all these excuses were being made, and so like even in my summers, I would be spending all of my summer like, looking after my brother. And well, not all of it, right? But how it would happen, it would be like Monday through Friday, I would have to look after him until, like my mum would come back from work. And then in the morning, he would wake me up, like I said, early. I would spend the whole day looking after him. And again, I'm making him food. He's a toddler, you know what I mean? I'm entertaining him also because I knew the pain and things I'd been through, and I never wanted to put out an ounce of unhappiness or like negativity in his direction. Because as I said to you guys before, one of my greatest motivators in life is that I never want anybody to live a life like the life I've lived, right? So, and then when my mum would come back, it's not like she'd be understanding to, as if to be like, oh, you can still go out like and hang out with your friends. I would have maybe like 2 hours I could go and hang out with my friends, and I'd still have to be back on curfew, which again, did my brother have a curfew when he got to the same age? No, he didn't. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't even get to see my friends. So my summers, I don't associate summer with relaxation. I don't associate summer with, and it just never really changed. Because then I became an adult. Then in my summers, obviously I'm working because I have to work because I'm an adult and I have to work. So summer was never really like, since then, it was never really like a thing. And I was always somewhat responsible for somebody. And I was always put onto me like, you have to be held to this higher standard that other people aren't even necessary. And I remember the day that I actually had a conversation with a couple of the women in my family where they were once again expecting me to do all these things. This is when I was an adult now. And I said to them, I'm not going to, it's not fair that you make excuses for all of these boys and all men, and you put all that onto me. And just because I can do it, I'm expected to do it. And because I can do it, and they would even say to me like, yeah, but we come to you because if we ask them, they're not going to do it. And I'm like, that shouldn't be my fault. I should be here at 27. This is what I've been talking about with the Lord. This is why I'm like, I'm so exhausted because I went from that to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this, to this. I haven't had a break in the last 15 years, right? Coming up 16, I'm like, when am I going to catch a freaking break? You know what I mean? When am I going to get the chance? And like, this is where some of these things factor into, because these are all also Christian people. These are also the same people that are just telling me that, this is just what you put up with as a woman. This is just what you put up with as whatever. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, they can't be around for this. Like this, I had to learn so many things in the Bible because I'm like, God, how does this make any sense? And I had to go to the Lord, and thank God that I went to him and I didn't just, write him off. And I don't mean that in a judgmental sense to absolutely anybody out there like who is in any position where you're not necessarily 100% with the Lord, because listen, it's your own journey, it's your own life, and I truly believe that the Lord understands, and I truly believe that the Lord sees us all and he sees what we're going through. That's why I believe that the Lord will bless me, and he understood along the way, and that's why I believe he always sent people that whatever, so it just was like and the reason why I was doing all of that is because I kind of felt like I had that relationship with these people, like the relationship I had with God, which I no longer have, which is what's reflected by a lot of these women. This like, I have to do all of this to please God, to please my parents, because that's what I'm saying. Like since I was the age of 7, I gave my life to God. I thought I need to do whatever I can to help everyone. Like that's my job. I have to do absolutely everything I can possibly do to help everyone. And that's just a few of the things I'm telling you guys about. Because let's not forget, on top of like me even I remember being 13 and I was already buying and selling. It's like selling stuff on eBay to make some extra money. You know what I mean? Like it was really hard for me to get to a point of not giving any money to anybody in my family. Like, and like I look back now and it was actually thrown in my face once the conversation I had with somebody, because they were like, oh, I need you to support with this, that and the other. And I was like, but that I've actually supported quite a lot over the years. And they just threw it back in my face. Were like, yeah, but that was then, this is now. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm a young woman. If I had even just been able to save up that money, and if I had that money right now, if I had that money, I could be paying for the freaking break that I need right now. if I'd even just had that money saved, I could be doing a lot. So, you know, these are why these story and listening to it and just thinking about how, you know, trying to do the right thing, trying to follow the right path as a woman in environments where you have, this, and then again, who's the people that are getting made all the, who's the person who gets to blame? Even for me, like, people will say like, oh, you know, these things is giving daddy issues. This is why women, if you need fatherhood around. I'm not the one who chooses whether people are around or not, actually. A funny story. So sorry, I didn't ask for this life either. So then maybe when I'm saying to you people like, I don't want to have kids and I don't want to do this, maybe I have a good reason. Maybe I don't want to, you know, take these risks, because we have these things that where all these men are doing all these different things, and all these, and all along on all of this time, all these experiences that I was having I was having very much in the limelight of the church and whatever, and everybody's all in agreement. Everybody loved it. Oh, you're so responsible. You're so good at looking after people. You're so good with children. You're so this. I'm being put on a pedestal up here. My expectation is up here. And I'm still not even getting, it's never good enough. That's why I had to just free myself, because I realized I'm only trying to continue to do more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's still never good enough. And I'm still outdoing everybody else anyway. And on top of it, I still was doing the things that I wanted to do. I still was making time. But I also had lost so much time. Like, there's so many things that I feel like I missed out on, you know. And in the meantime, you know, we've got all of these other men who get away with doing diddly squat and are like being worshipped like anything. So yeah, I found this whole topic and this whole thing very, very triggering. Well, not triggering, because I'm not triggered. I'm not even angry. I'm just like, I can just see, I can feel and see and experience like what these feelings feel like for these women, because, you know, it's like one rule for us and another rule for the men. And like I said, for the majority of it all, you know, from the background I come from, I've been mostly, as far as like my family and as far as like all of that, I've been in mostly religious circles. You know what I mean? I grew up, like I said, I was a pastor's kid. We spent a lot of time at church, you know, three couple days a week. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. You know, we're very much involved in the church work. So it's not like people didn't know what was going on at all. I mean, some of it people didn't know what was going on, some of the things I just mentioned. And of course, that's again where it's just like, because when you just step up and do the job, and this is the unfortunate thing sometimes, is that, you know, where things just become normalized. Because for me, for what I was doing, like, you know, again, even in some of the cultures that I come from, you know, this is why I would never in my wildest dreams marry a man from the countries that I come from. And that's not because I have anything wrong with them actually at all. You know, there's some really lovely men, but the familial expectation that will be on me, because I'm the daughter-in-law, is out of this world, right? And we'll do this under the guise of godliness and whatever. And like I said, it's just extremely like this whole patriarchal, misogynistic, like women are just doing this, and like the utilization of the religious part. And that's what it is for me. It's the utilization of the religious part of, like, I felt like if I was to be disobedient, again, honor thy mother and father, if I was to not do all these things, then I'm being disobedient. If I was to not do all of these things, then I'm out of the will of God, because I'm supposed to listen to what my parents tell me to do, and I'm supposed to listen to what my elders tell me to do, and I'm supposed to do this, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying all my hardest to read the Bible, and I'm going to all these Bible studies, and I was trying so freaking hard, like, to do things the right way, you know what I mean? And all of that happened, it hit me in the face last year when I turned 27. That's when it hit me. That's why I was so miserable all of last year, because I was like, whoa, I did all of this. I'm exhausted. I have nothing and no one to show for it whatsoever. I'm now at the point in my life where I'm in my technical prime, although I'm not presenting as in my prime, because I'm too exhausted to even love myself the way I need to love myself at the minute. And my best days are here, and I just don't even have the motivation or the will, because I should be here with all this energy that I've already expended, thinking that that this was gonna work towards something. And I've come out the other side and I've got nothing to show for it, right? It just drove me insane, all in the guise of trying to do the right thing, all in the guise of thinking, you know, I can trust in these situations that, again, like I said, are heavily misogynistic. Because how is it that I was held to account all of these scriptures in the Bible? And I was held to account to, you as a woman, you've got to be modest, you as a woman, you as a woman, you as a woman, you as a woman. And all these other things that I saw that went on with the various different men around the church, whatever, that no one talks about those scriptures. No one talks about those scriptures of the Bible. You know what I'm saying? It was always, wives, submit to your husbands. What about husbands, love your wives like Christ loved the church? You know what I'm saying? Where were all those scriptures? You know what I'm saying? So it's all of these different things that that I experienced in my life, and that was like, I was trying to be the good Christian girl, the good Christian, caring, trustworthy. I was helping in children's church. You know what I mean? I used to work in children's church as well. I was on the hospitality team. I was doing this. I know how to set up the AV equipment. Well, not the AV equipment, the music equipment, like the mics and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? At the very beginning, I used to sing on the praise and worship team. I gave up doing that at 12 because I absolutely hated it, because I felt like a fraud on stage, and I wasn't prepared to stand on stage as a fraud even at the age of 12. That did cause an argument, but it was worthwhile, because I was like, I'm not going to be fake before the Lord. Like, you guys can believe all you want to believe about what I'm saying and what I'm doing on stage, and for me, that's not good enough. If I'm going to be here and I'm going to be, before the Lord, I'm going to be before the Lord in honesty. That was just something for me that I felt was important. And so, I wasn't prepared to just like pretend, like, just fake stretch my hands and whatever. I was never going to do that. Not that I was being asked to do that, but to be clear. But yeah, so going through this, it was kind of a healing process. I can't lie. This whole series is kind of like, because it's pushed me to talk about a lot of things that I would otherwise have probably never talked about, or maybe, I don't know under what context that I would have, because I just feel like, who really cares, right? It's too late now. It's all done and dusted. It's all gone. Time has been wasted. I didn't know better. And I'm like, who's to blame? Because I feel like I can only blame myself. And that's why I feel like I just won't trust anybody again. Because I'm like, the only person I can blame is myself, because I didn't have to do all those things. I did them because I thought they were the right thing to do. And I started doing them since I was like 12. I'm like, and I know this is a toxic habit of mine. I'm trying to change. And obviously I'm not all to blame in this. But that's how I feel. That's how the world reacts. That's how the church would react. If people from the church were to church people to hear some of this video, they'd be like, oh, you didn't need to say this online, because they don't care. Because it's still more important to protect, the other people. It's still more important as a woman not to speak up for myself and to keep myself quiet, especially when it comes to the church, to just shut up and do what I'm being told, and to just shut up, right? And anyways, that's besides the fact that they probably already got a whole bunch of other issues with the things that I say or the way that I conduct myself and I carry myself. And like, it was just insane to me, like the standard levels of like what's expected of me as a woman, and the abuse of like the spiritual element. That's what got me. In fact, that's what actually broke me out of that matrix. Was the final straw came when I just heard such a heavy level of untruth, of lies, that it exposed that I deep down what I always felt inside was always the truth. And ever since then, that's how you guys have come to meet the women that you know today. So yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a huge journey, and it's not been easy. And like I said, I've been through it. Like, and I'm going through it, and I'm like, God, I don't know. I still don't see the point. I'll be very really honest with you all. I still don't see the point, because I just feel that in this world that we live in, if you want to do well, people will take advantage of you. And if you do badly, people at first will you'll be the one that people love at first, and then when they realize who you are, people like me have to pay the price for the choices of those others. And it's just like, it's a cruel existence. So I'm saying this existence sometimes does feel cruel. And I'll be honest, I'm saying all of this, guys, I don't want you to feel sorry for me. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. In fact, I feel quite happy that I did this, because I feel kind of like, you know what? That's just another layer of the devil gaslighting me that's not going to be there anymore. I'm actually going to just accept, listen, like, it was what it was. It wasn't godly. It wasn't what was asked. And all I can do, and this is all I am doing, is putting my trust in the Lord, ultimately, because that he won't take it. Obviously he won't take advantage of me. You know what I mean? And he won't allow my work to be in vain. Because that's the thing that kills me the most. Like, all of that work in vain. Imagine being these women who've been through all of this. You did all of this work. You tried this. You've had all of these kids. Imagine having to lose out on your kids. That is just an experience. And these I hate to say it, but these men are all around the board. Let's be real. They just get away with whatever they can get away with. We just, oh, it's just how it goes. Oh, you know, yeah, we can't. Oh, no, you know, the excuses that I would get. Oh, you know, it's the same old story. Oh, your brothers haven't done it. My brothers haven't done it. Yeah, well, if I ask them, they're not going to do it. If I ask you, you will do it. Huh? What is that? How is that fair? Oh, why does he have to have so many wives? Oh, because they're men, they have needs. Oh, okay. So he needs to have like 10 wives. All right, cool. Like, it's like there's excuses is always there as to why us as the women have to just yield to everything. And then, you know, and then there's always a reason. There's always a reason. And we're always the pure ones, the ones expected to be the pure whatever ones. You know what I mean? There's no respect. Like, there's not even respect for our bodies. Because this is the other thing that I was thinking about with this whole sister wives things and like whatever. It's the same thing I think about people that cheat. It's like, you really are so selfish to go ahead and go and bring whatever you took out of some other woman's body into my body. That is so overwhelmingly selfish. That's such a disrespect of my body. You have no respect for my body whatsoever. Do you know what I'm saying? You have no respect for my body whatsoever. It's crazy, but this is what we do. And it's fine. Listen, like I said, the Lord can do whatever he wants to do. I trust God and I trust Jesus. This is why it was such a monumental, it was a miraculous. If I ever decide to have children or get married, you guys, listen, just know that it was a miracle. If you see that take place, know it's a miracle. From that moment, vow within yourself, if you see that happen, you officially believe in miracles. Trust me. Because I don't have to do all this. I really don't. I'm not going to beg nobody for nothing. I'm past this point. I should, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, at a certain point, it's like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Because that's what was saying, that came across to me with these women. They were all so well-meaning. The reason why they got into this stuff is because they wanted to do right. A lot of them, they wanted to have families. It was like me. At 16, I was young and dumb. I wanted to be married with 9 children at 16. That's where I was. I was naive, young and dumb. And I went off into the world, and the world absolutely battered me. And here I stand, like nearly 12 years later. And I'm like, you know what? Lord, can we do anything other than that? Respectfully, because I don't want to have to be defending myself. I don't want to have to be second guessing whatever. I don't want to have to be regretting the person I chose for my children to be with. I don't want my daughter to grow up in a society or in a community where she's got one rules and then the guys have other rules. I don't want to have to see her watch that. I don't want her to watch me be mistreated. You know, I don't want my son to have those types of things as his frame of reference of what kind of man he should become. You know what I'm saying? So that's where all of these feelings for me come from about how I just feel about all this stuff, because I'm kind of like, you know, I've lived through certain versions of some of the things these women are talking about, and you just get to the point where you're like, after all is said and done, you have nothing to show for it. Nothing at all. And that's the difference. You have nothing at all to show for it. Yay, you are this nurturing, loving, caring person that everybody said you should have been. I wish I'd focused on business sooner. I would have been rich by now. I wish I'd saved my money instead. I would have been rich by now. I would have been rich. You guys, I would have been rich by like 21. I would have been rich by like 21. But my priorities were with what? Family and the church. Me with all the things that I love to do. Those are my number one priorities. Family and the church. And that was the result that I ended up. I hit 27. And what do I have to show for that? Absolutely freaking nothing. And on that note, so that's how I feel about all of this stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how I feel about what I've been through. It should have been, could have been, would have been a lovely situation. However, in the end, it doesn't even, no, I'm joking. In the end, I'll tell you what I really think, so we don't end on such a somber note. I've at least planted a whole lot of good seeds. That's how I feel. I've at least planted more good seeds than I've planted, way more good seeds than I've planted bad seeds. Obviously, I'm not a perfect person, guys. I've been my problem. I've been problematic. I've been a problematic child myself at times. You know what I'm saying? Let's not get crazy. It's not like I'm trying to say I was perfect. I absolutely definitely wasn't, but I definitely was doing my best with what I had. I can say that much. Saying I doing my best is something I can for sure say that I did. So I feel like I've at least planted way more good seeds than bad seeds. So that's something I feel. That should at least, that should stand for something, right? I hope. I don't know. This is the world we live in where, again, like I said, misogynistic. So it's just what it is. At a certain point, I think we all have to acknowledge on both sides, we both have powers that we can use to our advantage one way or another. And I think what has to be said, if I can say anything in all of that, is that unfortunately for us as women, at the end of the day, there's only one ultimate power we can really utilize, and that is our wombs and our, and so that's why a lot of women are using them now, because they're like, you got to use what you have, because we don't have the numbers when it comes to society and all of that thing. Most things are still mostly male run and male dominated and male whatever. As I said, the most obvious reason for that is the fact that we still have to pay for any products in relation to having say like our periods and stuff, because hello, we can't even that's the one thing we can't even do anything about. That it's now got to a point where people, it's a luxury if people have products for stuff like that. Like, people go out of their way, like teachers, to have those things for kids in their schools, because who knows if these kids can afford them. If there isn't any more evidence that, that we still very much live in a patriarchal society, that's one of them. Because if you really understood, even like the male community, what that means for us to go through that every single month, and the fact that we have to do it, and you really respected our experience, then those things would have been dealt with. But it seems like those things are just as unimportant there as they are, unfortunately, in a lot of other instances. And I'm not saying this for all men, by the way. I'm just saying that it is unfortunately very much laced in like a lot of religion. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm seeing why for a lot of people, a lot of women, they're either gravitating towards these airy-fairy churches where there's not really any Bible happening, a lot of just, or we're anti-church, because it's so, I never really understood why the anger was so deep. And I guess because I never really validated my own experiences. And this is just, I'm telling you from the church wise enough. Even in my relationship, the same thing happened with the biblical things of like, oh, what a woman is supposed to do and what a woman is supposed to be and what a woman is supposed to whatever. And it's like, okay. So there you go. The only thing that's holding me off from not just deciding completely forever that I'm never having kids and never whatever is because, I'm petty and I don't want the devil to win. That's the only reason, genuinely. I'm petty and I don't want the devil to win. So I'm like, God, if you can convince me otherwise, please do. I'm open to it. But stories like these ladies, they're way more common than we think. A lot of this, like I said, I'm just the one who comes out and says things out loud. But a lot of these experiences are shared across the board. So why don't you hear about these things? Why is it not more prevalent, whatever? That's because it's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. Like, all of this is so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing to have to explain this stuff and to have to literally essentially beg to be treated well. It's embarrassing. So that's why, you guys. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this series. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And like I said, I don't hate men, guys. I don't. I just wish, I just wish it didn't feel like I said, you have to beg to be treated well. You know what I mean? Like, and even just the basics. It's a bit sad. So anyways, you guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. This was kind of an insane experience, I think we can all say. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.